The ceasefire announced today opens the door to breaking the cycle of violence that has long plagued the region, if leaders there are finally prepared to make the tough decisions necessary.
Yesterday in the Atlantic Council.
This ceasefire is an important achievement, and it is now incumbent upon everyone in the region and in the United States to do what they can to turn it into a lasting peace.
Today, Secretary Blinken.
This administration's term in office will expire in 5 days. And one of the things that we have always said about this deal is that when you get from stage 1 to stage 2, that the United States, Egypt, and Qatar are the guarantors of this deal. And Egypt and Qatar will push Hamas to stay at the bargaining table and to get from stage 1 to stage 2, and the United States will push Israel to stay at the bargaining table to get from phase 1 and phase 2. So obviously those are promises we cannot make on behalf of the United States for any longer than the next 5 days. And so it's critical that all of the parties to the agreement and the other mediators see that when the United States is in the room making commitments, those are lasting commitments that extend beyond this administration into the next one. I would just...
I know it's not an easy job. I know you've received lots of criticism for some of
who governs Gaza. I can tell you that the United States is committed to ensuring that Hamas never again resumes governing Gaza. I think I can say with some certainty that a reemergence of Hamas governing Gaza would be an absolute deal breaker for Israel, as it should be, when you saw what happened on October 7th. And I would hope that it would be a deal breaker for the Palestinian people, who have seen the loss of more than 45,000 individuals over the last 15 months in a war that Hamas started.
Do you have any practical plan? How many trucks, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera?
We are looking at a massive infusion of trucks. Somewhere, hopefully, it won't happen overnight, but we want to get up to over 500 trucks a day. Excuse me, that come into Gaza. And the critical thing that we believe the ceasefire unlocks is a real solution to that last mile distribution problem that we have had, that humanitarian organizations have had in Gaza.
But thanks for coming here. Really?
Really?
But
the plan that the secretary laid out, we found got broad support, but there were still details that needed to be agreed. And it was always our assumption that if we got to phase 1, it was during phase 1 of the agreement that you could really force agreement on the day after plan, because it takes bringing about a ceasefire to focus the mind on what comes next and to drive agreement on what comes next. And so we were really looking for this opportunity to drive real agreement on turning those broad strokes into implementable plans. So what we're going to do, as the secretary said yesterday, is take those plans and turn it over to the incoming administration. We've already had conversations with them about them. It is our hope that they will pick them up and run with it, but of course those will be decisions for them to make. And if they don't, I do believe that there are countries in the region who are going to want to step up, who are not going to want Gaza to be a source of continued suffering and pain and instability to the broader region.
I'm entitled to it, so I sincerely thank you for calling on me all the time.
Of course, Said.